Booth 1915. It's the Bell Racing USA live stage powered by Racetrack Engineering. I'm Chris Wheeler, joined by President COO of Bell Racing USA, Kyle Kitzman, and Mr. Darren Jack of the Hall of Fame Collection. Welcome back, sir.
Thank you. Pleasure to be here.
So, we obviously we've been doing this for a long time. You've been collecting a lot of great things. Talk to us a little bit about your guys' collection and the process of the Hall of Fame Collection.
Yeah, I mean, been a racing fan, much like everybody really here for many, many years. And grew up in England and was always kind of fascinated by collecting. Visited places such as the Donington Museum over there, which is kind of iconic for racing cars and such. And kind of always had like an interest really in racing drivers' helmets and the different designs, helmet models, manufacturers, and you know, their own kind of paint scheme, right? So always kind of studied the drivers' helmets in various disciplines of racing, and then probably about 15 years ago actually started to collect them.
What is your marquee one piece of your collection?
Yeah, I mean, how do you pick one of your kids, right? So
you don't have any and you just collect helmets.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah. Apparently not anymore. When I get home I might not, but yeah, really I have quite a lot of favorite helmets. The one helmet that sticks out in my mind is Mark Donohue's helmet. It's actually a Bell helmet as well from 1973. It's the iconic bright yellow, and it's painted with Mark on the side of it. That helmet probably changed my life and my career, I would say. It's not an understatement. Around 2011, a friend of mine called me and said, would I be interested in a Mark Donohue helmet? The price was actually pretty high, but I begged, borrowed, and stole to make it work, and managed to acquire this helmet. But then it was really the research on the history of that helmet that changed my life. Started to document where it was used, and was able to see that it was used in Can-Am in 1973 in the Porsche. Basically the Can-Am Killer, they called it, where he won almost all the races, and he used it in Indy in 73. He was returning as the champion from 72. And that helmet is just so iconic, and really I've never seen another original Donohue since. There's many other favorites, particularly Indy 500 winners. I've had a couple of nice Jimmy Bryant helmets. One of them's made it to the home of Bell now. And Dan Weldon, of course, was very dear to a lot of us. I've got 12 of his helmets, and all of those have their own kind of special feeling with the different races that he used them in. But you know, there's many cool ones really, and but particularly Indy 500 Champions Collection I'm pretty fond of.
Well, when you think about Indianapolis, think about the town of Speedway, you've got some cool news to tell everybody.
I do, yeah. Very excited to announce that the famous Ron Burton helmet collection is now been acquired by the Hall of Fame Collection. So it's been I would say even a 12-13 year process to track down where these helmets were. I've actually during that time been able to build a great relationship with both Ron and his family, and yeah, really proud and actually honored to be able to take over this fantastic collection. And for the first time in probably 15 years, people are going to be able to see what's in that collection, and also be able to come and see it in person.
Well, you've got some stuff with you, and Kyle here. Kyle's obviously been with the company a little bit longer than I have. So you guys will be able to talk here about some of this stuff and talk about it.
Have you ever seen anything like this? I know Kyle has. But
yeah, we've come across that before, but it's from an era that's long since passed, and late 70s into the 80s, probably disappeared early 90s. But this was able to cycle tear-offs on a single spool of film, and so you'd hit a button and it would cycle from one side to the other, knock the mud off, and that was the tear-off system. And you can tell, you know, how concerning that is just looking at it in terms of rotational injuries and all kinds of things that are not good in a race car. But yeah, that was the tech back in the day.
Yeah, I mean, I've been literally pulling things out of boxes that, you know, I've seen a thumbnail picture of before. So this has been like a kid in a candy store or a kid at Christmas every day for the past few days. So this one I came across and never seen anything like it in person, and been able to do a little bit of research on it. I was telling Tony Stewart about it yesterday actually, Tony tells me a story that he actually used one like this, and he broke his hand, and he couldn't actually get this to work, so he taped his hand to the steering wheel, and then what he would do is he would basically press the button with his right hand, and he used it all up within a few laps. Another story I heard recently is Jeff Gordon was using one of these, and apparently he wore the button out because he was so nervous his first time in a sprint car. And I actually, when you look at it, it's a Bell XFM1 helmet, Snell 85, so very similar to the ones of that all the famous drivers that wore Bell, such as Mario Andretti, Ayrton Senna, even Michael Schumacher would have worn a Bell XFM1 in the late 80s, early 90s. And this one's used by Tommy Astone, which was just learned a little bit about him, a sprint car driver. But really, just an iconic piece of history that remains intact.
That incidentally is a custom striping right from the factory on the XFM1. It was sold exactly like that,
right?
And then you just add your name there. So that was the design back in the day, if you will.
Remarkably clean on the inside too, if you see.
I don't know if I would have approved the logo placement back in that day, Kyle.
Well, the logo seems to have disappeared from that one.
Pulled out a couple of favorites here. That these Bell Fueling helmets was really popular in the mid-90s, you know. And what's unique, I think they had such square edges that were eventually banned. And I don't believe you can have a helmet designed like that anymore.
No, those were outlawed. There was actually a concern about the back getting caught in the roll hoop in the day. But at the time, that was really an innovation. It was done in conjunction with a gentleman by the name of Jim Fueling, who patented basically a 7-degree angle that went onto the back side of the helmet, which allowed the airflow to flow to the back of the helmet. And then it had a rear wicker, and you can kind of see where that tape is, but you would tape the rear wicker on, and it would create a separation point on the helmet and allow the airflow to detach. But it really did enhance aerodynamic stability in the early 90s at high-speed tracks like Indianapolis.
You know, 2019 we'll see Fernando Alonso return to the Speedway as a Bell athlete, of course. What brings me to think of Fernando here is this helmet actually belonged to Michele Alboreto, and Alboreto won Le Mans. He was also a Grand Prix winner, and he did run the Speedway in 1996 and actually used this helmet that year. You can see it actually has a Le Mans tech sticker on it as well, which is kind of neat to show its history. Original radio in it. I mean, a lot of these drivers had great friendships with Ron Burton. Essentially, he would just hand them, they would hand him a helmet, and he would do a beautiful original artwork of one of their cars, and none of them are signed, which means I've got a lot of work to do. But Ron really was just so close friends with a lot of these drivers. It's kind of like me asking for your signature, you know, we're friends, and that was the way his friendship and relationship was, which was in a lot of ways kind of special and unique.
Now, did Michele run 1 year or 2 years at Indianapolis?
You know, he may have done 2 actually. Maybe he did 96, 97, but definitely, I'm pretty sure it was 96 that he had this one.
So that could more than likely be one of the ones he wore in the 500.
Yeah, I think he also did some races for this team early in the IRL season, so like Walt Disney World as well, the first IRL race in 96. This one I pulled out because it was pretty special listening to Ron over the past few years with his stories, you know, and there's a lot of racing helmets, there's a lot of cool stuff that we see, but a lot of time, you know, it's the stories that go with it that are special. And Ron told me this story. He said Danny Ungaius was really one of his best friends, and really is today, you know. He was on his pit crew in 1996. Of course, we had Scott Brayton and Tony Stewart coming to the Speedway in 96 as teammates. Scott Brayton was tragically killed after he won the pole. Stewart needed a new teammate, and they called up Danny Ungaius, you know. Been around for many years. Ungaius shows up. I'd imagine it was probably only a few days before the race, and jumped in the car and finished 7th. And he wore this the same year, 1996. Apparently Ron says he walks over to him at some point during that week and just handed him his helmet. There you go, Ron. So it's kind of special. He's actually got 3 Danny Ungais helmets in the collection, and this one really is pretty unique, you know, considering his friendship. This is actually Ron's original crew shirt, which was inside of it too.
It's impressive the color hasn't faded on the shirt.
How about the logo placement? Is that to your standard?
The only thing about this that would upset me in today's world is that Ungais actually didn't usually wear a bell. And the fact is that chances are you were the bell guy in '96 at Indianapolis. Ungais probably showed up without a helmet. The team came to you, and you have such a big heart and such a nice guy that you gave him one to wear, and that's why they put stickers on it.
And I may or may not have put the tear-offs on that helmet.
I think really the story is Ungais was, you know, a non-bell athlete, and then Kyle really, you know, scooped him and got him to wear bell, so everybody remembers him wearing that bell now, and you know, Kyle did a great job in my opinion.
You know, it was pretty competitive back then, so the helmet wars were on point.
Ron was his signboard guy, so in 2013 the Indianapolis Motor Speedway for the last time had signboard people because of Saavedra's accident in the Grand Prix of Indianapolis, I think in 2014, I think I've got that right. They didn't allow it anymore, but Ron was one of those brave guys on the pit wall, sticking out the signboard with his number 32, and so still got those, which is kind of a nice piece of history too.
What else you got in your little magic bag down here, Darren? There's one I've been waiting on, right? No, here it is.
Wow.
This gets me excited, folks. Like, I'm pretty pumped. I got a text message photo of it, and it's a rare sighting, and this is awesome.
Yeah, this is in all the years of helmet collecting, and I've handled 1,000 helmets, kept the collection around 300. I've never ever owned a twin window helmet like this. So this is my first one, and came from the Ron Burton collection, and this one will be staying in the Hall of Fame collection. It's worn by Tim Richmond. It's actually snowing dirt all over me right now. But you have to show the helmet skirt because this was made by Hinchman, and it has the stitching in there. So really, his name is even stitched into it still.
Now this is from the tail of Tim's open wheel career. This is leading up to the big accident at Michigan, correct? This is going to be that kind of era before he kind of went back and started doing this stock car stuff.
Yeah, I mean, we're learning about these items on the fly here every day, you know, so it helps to have some good knowledge of each of these drivers' history. Of course, being fans, everyone at the Hall of Fame collection is a big racing fan. So when we get pieces like this, we love to dive into the history of it. And we already photo matched it actually to one of his sprint car races. I think he only did Indianapolis once as far as a race, 1980, I believe. And but yeah, this was used in sprint cars and probably would be around right around 1980, somewhere around there, I would say, give or take a year or two.
Yeah, what's interesting about that is that the polycarbonate material that they used in the shields back in the day was very thin. You couldn't form it. You basically stamp it flat and then stretch it around the helmet. And so the dual eye port was really to reinforce the center of the eye port, so to prevent that shield from breaking or, in the incidence of a fire, actually melting into the eye port.
Fascinating. Yeah, so there's one more special helmet, but we'll wait to debut that another day. It's Mario Andretti's first, we believe his first Bell helmet, probably around 1965, 66. It's the white one, so it'll be probably from his first 2 championships. All of these are going to be able to be seen on RacingHallOfFameCollection.com in January. We've got a lot of work to do to get them up.
So you just made our negotiation a little bit more difficult by making a public announcement. Thank you for
Absolutely.
that.
Oh, wait a second here, but that appears to be a Bell corporate card. Just Just keep that. I think I've got one. Kyle's got one.
Might keep swiping all three of them.
I'll ask Mario how much it's worth first.
Oh, yeah.
Mario would definitely have an educated opinion on that.
I'm sorry, what?
We saw the picture of his Christmas tree yesterday, and we know it's not cheap. Why was the logo with helmets on it back at that?
Yeah, there were different branding strategies back in the day, and so at that time, Bell was primarily just a helmet company, and they hadn't added a lot of the other bicycle accessories and different components. So at the time, the branding strategy was to market everything under the Bell Helmets brand.
Well, folks, that is going to wrap up this one right here. In fact, it's going to wrap up the entire week. So on behalf of the entire Bell Racing USA staff, thank you to all of our guests. Thank you to all the athletes and consumers that have been in this booth. Thank you to all of you at home that have been tuning in. For everything else, it's been a fantastic year in 2018. I'm Chris Wheeler, and we will see you soon. Thanks for visiting the Bell Racing USA live stage, booth 1915, powered by Racetrack Engineering.